Hi folks, and welcome to today's video, which is mainly on Moflin, but I will be giving some mention to Cupboo later in the video because I've got a bit of very exciting and interesting robo news to share with you.
So what's that then?
Well, it's all going to be explained by looking at an article I found. So I found an article by Tech Radar,
Well-respected source.
and that is entitled Casio launches AI-powered furry robot pet that wants to replace your dog.
I didn't know Moflin was a dog.
Well, I thought that was a bit of a silly thing to say, especially as in the first paragraph they say that it looks like a large guinea pig. So contradict themselves in the first paragraph. I've always thought that it looks like a guinea pig. It was one of the things that drew me to it because I love guinea pigs, and we actually try to make our own robotic guinea pig.
We have, yeah.
Wouldn't say a large guinea pig though. It's actually on the small size.
It is, yeah.
Even for a female guinea pig, just fitting in the palm of your hand. So I've picked out some main points from that article.
Okay.
I'll just go through those. So they're going to start shipping on November the 7th.
Just in time for Christmas.
But not very far away at all. I was quite surprised at that. That suggests that they've actually got them already made.
It does, yeah.
And it says available on pre-order in Japan. Now this article was published yesterday.
Yeah.
But I looked today and they've already sold out of both colours.
So what size pre-order did they have available?
Didn't say how many units, but they must have had so many units made.
Yeah.
And then took pre-orders just for that specific number of units. So I'm wondering if they want to start off with a small batch and maybe get feedback before they do a really big run.
Would make sense, yeah.
And this was interesting. This is a difference between when Vanguard was selling them and I got mine.
Yeah.
It says that Casio is going to have a repair centre and there's an optional subscription service to cover repairs.
Right.
Now, I remember in the Moflin group, there was a lady and a little kid dropped the Moflin.
I remember, yeah. And she couldn't get it repaired, could she?
And she couldn't get it repaired, and she was sort of like to-ing and fro-ing with the company for ages. So that's good to know that people have that option now.
And it also suggests that Casio seems to be thinking that people are going to be keeping these electronic pets long-term, building a relationship with it, and would most definitely want them repaired should they break down.
And another big difference with the original Moflin is that it says that Moflin's state of mind is visible through an app.
So it's definitely got an app this time.
Yes.
Now, when Vanguard did it, it didn't have an app, but we did notice that it did offer a Bluetooth connection should you bring your mobile phone next to it.
Yeah, you noticed on your phone that it was connected by Bluetooth.
Vanguard must have envisaged developing an app, but never got around to it. But Casio have done it straight away.
Yeah,
great.
So that's good. And it states that it's got a 5-hour battery life on a single charge, and that it requires a 3.5-hour charge after that. Myself and other people I know tend to put their Moflin on the charger overnight.
Right, yeah, like putting it to bed and it just charges up. So you're not consciously actually charging Moflin,
no,
you're just
like,
putting it to bed, yeah.
Yeah, good night, Moflin.
Because I was going to say, I'm sure you used to get more than 5 hours battery life out of it.
Yeah,
charge,
I mean,
but you
depends.
were just putting it to bed and it was automatically charging up.
Yeah, and I think it also depends how sort of lively it is. If it's very quiet and still, obviously you get a bit more. If it's more lively, you get a bit less. And it says that the trailer that was launched to promote it showed a woman cuddling with it in bed.
Exactly what you do.
Yes. One of the things I really like about the Moflin is that it uses its light sensor fantastically. And it can even sleep in the same bed as you. and as long as it's dark, it will not make a sound.
Right.
So that's really nice. And also, whether it's in its charger or if it's in your bed, as soon as you open the curtains and the light comes in, it wakes up and greets you.
Right.
I really like that about it.
Yeah. So this app that they're launching with Moflin Casio, they say that its state of mind is visible through the app. Now, that's good because Moflin's always been billed as having emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's difficult to assess what's going on with the Moflin.
Exactly.
Without an app, especially...
Maybe because Vanguard always intended having an app. They always thought, well, we can make it clear with the app.
Yeah.
But then they didn't do it.
I hope Casio make a real success of it.
So the price of it is $400, and as I say, not available anymore on pre-order. They've all been snapped up.
Right, so it's not been overpriced.
So the pre-order was just in Japan.
Right.
But someone in the Moflin group who lives in Germany, she contacted Casio by email and said, I want a Moflin, I live in Germany. And Casio said that depending on how successful it is, they are considering selling them overseas.
How successful it is in Japan?
Yes.
Oh, great. That'd be good.
But this has been a great start because they've sold out.
The thing is, though, the original Moflin's already been sold globally, hasn't it?
Well, that was a very small amount on Kickstarter. I would think the Casio, being a large company...
There'll be very large numbers.
They'll be talking about
if they do it globally.
Proper volumes, yeah. So I think that's fantastic news that a company the size of Casio has... I don't know if they bought up the rights or what, but they're going to be producing Moflin.
Maybe they've absorbed the company.
Who knows? But it's great news because obviously with Casio being such a big company, there's much more scope for them to develop it and distribute it.
Yeah, like Sony developed the Aibo over decades.
Yeah, it's funny that Casio's done this though, because Casio's known for calculators and cameras and what's the other thing they produce?
They did a range of watches called
watches,
G-Shock. Yeah. The thing is about cameras though, they've recently lost the camera market to smartphones. A lot of the camera market to smartphones. So maybe they're looking for something to replace that, like a consumer interactive emotional robot, and to develop Moflin, as I say, like Sony have developed the Aibo.
I'm sure it's going to be really popular in Japan.
Well, it's sold out already, hasn't it, the initial order? So.
And I wonder where they'll take it in the future, because Sony sold sold the Aibo in Japan, and then they released it in the US, but they never went further than that.
That's because it's a high-value product, though. The audience is more limited, isn't it?
That's true. There's a big difference between $3,000 and $400, isn't
right,
there?
Yeah.
But when it does become for general sale, after they've shipped these pre-orders and they've done a bigger run, I wonder if they'll sell it on Amazon, Paul, because, Casio doesn't normally sell its products direct from its store. It normally sells them in general retail outlets like
right.
Amazon, doesn't it? Because if they've sold it on Amazon Japan, even if you're outside of Japan...
You'd be able to purchase one.
Yeah.
Because it's quite easy to buy from Amazon Japan.
Yeah, I bought lots of things. All the information on Casio's site about Moflin currently is all in Japanese. But I used the camera function of Google Translate to get some screenshots of what it is in English.
Yeah.
And I've put those together. So we'll have a look at that now, and we'll see if there's anything else that is different, apart from the fact that they've now developed an app for Moflin.
Okay, right.
So it says Moflin Body PEM10. Don't know what that means, Paul. Have you any idea?
Type of plastic maybe that it's made out of? Could be polyethylene something. So.
Movable parts, 2 axes, head, left, right, rotation, up, downward, slope.
So there's no change there, is there?
No change.
Mm-hmm.
Sound, 1 speaker, and then it says IKU. Any idea what
So
that
that's a
could possibly be?
Japanese translation into English.
Yes.
Something times 1 IKU, inertia, kinematics unit. I don't know. That would be sort of accelerometer, gyro maybe.
And then it says sensors, touch sensor.
Oh no, I can see there. It's got gyro there, hasn't it? Acceleration and
so
gyro.
we don't know what that other thing is. 1 touch sensor on the head, 4 on the torso, so that's the same.
Is it? I didn't know it had that. Moflin had that many touch sensors.
Oh, I think so.
Right,
I think
okay.
it did originally, yeah. Acceleration gyro sensor, illuminance sensor, so all that was in the original Moflin.
Mm-hmm.
But this is new. 1 temperature sensor.
Right.
I wonder why they've added that.
Well, they want to get perhaps more realistic sort of biological response from the environment. You know, if it's cold, if it's warm.
I suppose it might shiver if it's cold and do a certain sort of action if it's hot.
Or,
and it'll probably tell you about it in the app as well. Moflin's feeling cold
that's
or
right,
Moflin's feeling hot.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Might tell you to fetch it a blanket if it's cold.
I wonder where that temperature sensor is. Is it maybe inside the body of Moflin or is it external, so it's more skin sort of temperature? And that would mean it would be able to pick up your hand heat.
Don't know. I wouldn't have thought it's that. I would have thought it's more like a Pleo where it's
more sort of buried within it.
Yeah. And then it says communication standard Bluetooth. So that's obviously for the app, but the original Moflin had Bluetooth, but they never used it.
Mm-hmm.
The dimensions and the weight is the same. I'm not sure about the battery. I've not checked in the information on the original Moflin. I'll have to check that and then comment on that. I would presume it's the same though, wouldn't you?
I would think so. They seem to have done from what we've read so far, very few changes. Casio seem to have done very few changes, implemented very few changes the biggest change is obviously the app.
Yes.
And 1 hardware change,
the temperature sensor.
Other hardware changes, it doesn't look like much has changed.
Though we may find that they have tinkered with the programming, maybe different sounds, maybe added to the sounds or the movements. We don't know yet.
That's right, yeah, that's another issue, isn't it? Have they changed the software?
So the battery operating time, 5 hours, sounds about the same. Charging, 3 hours, 30 minutes, sounds about the same. Now, this is interesting. It says, remembers the owner's voice. Now, I can't remember anything in the original write-up on Moflin saying that it could recognise a voice.
Or have any speech recognition. Does that imply speech recognition then?
Doesn't say anywhere about speech recognition. I don't think it understands any words.
Remembers the owner's voice. Does that mean it can discriminate between the owner and other people then? Or is it just another way of saying it's activated by sound?
I don't know, because they never said that in the original write-up. So I'm wondering if they have tinkered a bit along that line. And it does state there quite clearly, Moflin remembers the voice of its owner.
It still seems a bit vague to me, that though. What does it mean by remember? Can it discriminate?
Well, maybe it can. I mean, maybe it can discriminate, for instance, a female voice from a male voice. Female voices and male voices are really quite different.
They are, but what happens if the owner's male and then the male has some male friends coming around? Can it still discriminate between the owner's voice and his male friends?
I don't know.
It seems to me to imply speech recognition, either partially or to come.
Maybe. And it says when it hears the voice of its owner, it shows affection through gestures and its voice. So it points out that if you've got allergies, it's a good alternative. And it says that the very cute in that they can't do anything for themselves, like they can't move around themselves. You've got to pick them up and put them somewhere. And then they talk about the growth over time of Moflin's personality. By spending time together, emotions will develop and they will become attached to each other, meaning the owner and the Moflin.
So that's talking about the emotional development of the Moflin.
Yes, and your bond with it.
Yeah.
Now, it says, day one, the emotions are gradually increasing, but its movement and voice is still childish. I think that means simple, because I remember when I first got my Moflin, it didn't make many different noises, and it
didn't move
hardly
much at all.
moved at all. And then it says, around 25 days, emotions become richer. You begin to become attached to the animal. Now, I would say that period for me with the original Moflin was over about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
After a couple of weeks, so I noticed lots of changes over 2 weeks, but I didn't really notice anything after that.
Yeah.
So it's now saying after 50 days, emotions are clearly visible and there's more reactions. So I'm wondering if they have
stretched it out in the software. The
I think maybe
period.
they have,
yeah.
And it says its emotions change depending on how you interact with it. Petting, holding, or talking to your pet will cause positive emotions, whereas not giving it attention or startling it will cause negative emotions.
I like that negative emotions picture where it's under a cloud with sort of like non-smiley eyes.
But that's the same.
Yeah.
Because like if you clash a door or something like that, it complains, doesn't it? And obviously they've got little musical notes above it. Obviously when you're petting it, it makes very happy sounds and will sometimes sing a little song. And then we finish off with emotional map. Moflin has emotions and behaves like a living thing, has independent emotions based on AI. Through communication, they express a variety of emotions, so like anger, contentment, etc. So that's pretty much the same, isn't it?
Are they really based on AI? I mean, is that just sort of...
Well, maybe it might be more apparent when you can actually see what's going on in the Moflin's head by looking at the app. It might be more apparent then.
Yeah.
So as well as an app, it's also got a temperature sensor. You wondered if that might also be something to do with keeping a check on the heat of the device.
Well, with it being a big company like Casio, they're thinking of moving into sort of mass production. I think they might be a little bit more concerned about safety with having a lithium-ion battery in there, and the temperature sensor might be to monitor the internal temperature of the electronics and the lithium-ion battery especially when it's being charged. So it might not be for reactions from Moflin. But then again, it might be dual purpose, don't know.
It could well be dual.
Yeah.
And very interesting that they said it develops over a long time period.
50 days.
It's a long time.
Yeah. Because you said on your Moflin from Vanguard, when you got yours from Vanguard, it didn't really change much after a fortnight, was it?
Yeah, after 1 or 2 weeks, that was it. I think Pebble, the cuckoo, is a bit sad at the moment.
Why?
Because I've not been paying it attention.
Oh, so that means she's in a bad place, in an emotional map, on a emotional map. Is that right?
Yes. But with the cuckoo, they're purring. That's how long it takes to get from sad to content, and not long at all. So talking about cuckoo, I had a look at the company's website and they actually sell it from the website now. It's all set up. They seem to have done quite a bit of work on the website.
Right, that's good. So do you reckon they'll be in direct competition with Casio? They're very similar products, aren't they?
They are, But it looks like since Casio is now taking over the production of Moflin, they're going to develop it a bit more. It's already being developed a bit more.
Yeah.
And
You mean with the app?
they'll probably give it updates and do some more stuff with it, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So, and the price is $400. And with the Cutboo, it's $260.
Almost
So,
half price, really, isn't it?
yes, it's quite a bit less, but it looks like you're going to start getting more
for your money, more for your $400. Yeah, because they're gonna
developing
develop
it.
Yeah.
I'll be very interested to see videos on YouTube of the Japanese people.
Yeah, to see how it's different from your Vanguard Moflin.
Yeah.
And what the Japanese owners are saying about it.
Well, we might not know that unless we can use some sort of translator.
We'll get an idea.
And I look forward to seeing where Casio takes it.
Yeah, exciting stuff.
I would say after having my Cutboo for a while and having my Moflin for over a year now, I have got more of a bond with the Moflin.
Why is that then?
I know some people in the groups that I'm part of absolutely love the Cutboos.
Well, it is very nice.
And
very similar to Moflin as well.
Yeah. They say they like the addition of the purrs, or they prefer the sounds, or they like the size of it.
Yeah.
But I prefer the size of Moflin.
Right.
I prefer the sounds that Moflin makes. I prefer Moflin's movements.
I think, overall, I see them, I'm not as close to either of them as you are. I don't interact with them in the same way, but from what I have seen of the two over the time period you've mentioned, I see Moflin as being more complex.
Yeah. And I don't think, as I've mentioned before, I don't think the Cutboo has any sort of gyro. Yeah, I did a demonstration a while ago where I turned them upside down, and there was no reaction from the Cutboo. I don't think I've seen anything in the write-up about it that says anything about an accelerometer. So Moflin's more complex in that regard. One of the biggest things for me is that, as I mentioned before, the light sensor in Moflin, they've used it so well. And I have I've been told that Moflin's got a on-off switch by other people who've got it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I've never used an on-off switch, which makes it feel more alive, really.
It does, yeah. It's always best if you've got an emotional pet to have it designed so that you don't have to use an on-off switch, because it's...
Whereas with the Cutboo, I've got to switch it off on the night time because it's in my room. It keeps me awake. Because we actually found that it did have a light sensor, didn't we?
Cutboo, yeah.
And I actually got some feedback from the company that made Cutboo, and they said, yes, it has got a light sensor, but because they wanted to give it very dense, very sort of soft fur, which it is really nice, the fur, but they found that it blocked the light sensor and they couldn't actually use the light sensor. So it's got that, it's missing that functionality as well.
Yeah.
So that about wraps it up for this video on Moflin and that big news about Casio.
Exciting news, yeah. Let's keep an eye on that in the future, see how it develops. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah. And I'm still waiting for a long-haired Moflin because I did really love my little guinea pig, my real guinea pig that had long hair.
Yeah. It would be nice, yeah, a long-haired
put little bows in it and stuff. Yeah, I'm still waiting for that. But that's it for this video, folks. Hope you found that interesting and informative to some degree. Thanks for watching as always, and hope to see you next time.